The Chiang Kai-shek Memorial Hall statue, presented as a requirement for Miss Wiseman's Honors Art History class at the University of Arkansas, Spring 2014. Chiang Kai-shek is as interesting and intertwined with the history of Taiwan as he is his own political aspirations and personality. He was the de facto dictator of Taiwan, and before that, the ruler of mainland China. In the past, before I started to study the Asian culture in Mandarin Chinese, I would think of Taiwan in the context of all Eastern Asian countries. Japan, Korea, the Philippines all seem stereotypically Asian and foreign to my Western understanding. Hard-working society built around education and strict parenting. Yet, I never would have thought of Taiwan to embody some of the aspects it truly used to embrace in the relentless pursuit for political control. A military state and the White Terror. Burning books, squashing protests through police strength. All normal in Taiwan shortly after Chiang Kai-shek and his government, the KMT, fled to Taiwan in 1949 when the White Terror happened, all the way up until 1987. About 11 years after he died. An eerie smile, right? That brings me to this statue, a clad bronze statue of Chiang Kai-shek surrounded by marble-blocked walls and floor. This statue is one of the many of Chiang's personages scattered throughout the island. I'll bet this one is the most notable. Mostly all cast in bronze, although material may vary from place to place. They are effigies to the once profound cult surrounding the personality of Chiang Kai-shek. Here you can see a park of literally hundreds of statues and busts of Chiang Kai-shek. They were placed here after a rival political party, the DPP, removed many of these statues from all over Taiwan. Not wanting to waste the artistic effort behind these statues, they placed them all in one convenient park, the Generalissimos in Cihu, Taiwan. All designed and created around the same few decades, 1949 to 1987, they were cast and molded in generally three positions, one of Chiang sitting, one of him standing with the support of a cane, and one with him reaching out with a book in hand. So, why am I showing you this statue if so many copies and imitations of Chiang exist? There's me standing in front of this giant sitting version of him. Well, why was this entire courtyard, magnificent and highly ornamental, built to house this statue of Chiang, not removed and placed in the garden of Chiang's? The sole reason? Because this one is the most grasping, the most monumental and singular statue of them all. The belovedness of the statue is blatantly evident in the wax figure of his personage built posthumously in his honor, a level below the statue, within a replica of his personal office. It inconspicuously portrays the cult of personality surrounding Chiang's personage. Completed on April 5, 1980, designed by Yang Chuoteng and located in Zhongzheng District, Taipei, Taiwan, it is roughly 3 stories high and analogously set in the sitting form of Lincoln. Chiang Kai-shek permanently sits atop his marble pedestal, clad in bronze, always flanked by 2 Taiwan national flags. He gazes upon the wandering foreigners, aboriginals, and Taiwanese, admiring with a smile the country he shaped and formed into today. His formed hands and legs are permanently stuck to his durable throne. No one dare remove this likeness to the graveyard garden of Chiang's. His awesomeness guarded through elaborate ceremony. Lay people barred from this block of metal and stone by velvet rope strung through golden poles. His peripherals flanked by traditional Chinese script depicting the purpose and meaning of life in this universe as though he is the embodiment of what life should represent. His personage made to look perhaps like that of a sitting, holy Buddhist monk. He is too ripe for the peasants to approach too close. The apparition of Chiang's autocratic guard rotate in outstretched fantastic ceremony every hour. their presence designed to guard his fleeting, outstretched ego in a way I can only compare to that of the cult around the late Kim Jong-il. In a fledgling attempt to alter the past, Whistle denied being transferred to the Generalissimo Garden in Zehu. The memorial's name was changed. Just a couple of years ago, this memorial was appropriately named Chiang Kai-shek Memorial Hall, or 中正纪念堂, but recently it was altered. Taiwan has always struggled with its identity, leading to its many names. The Portuguese first called it Formosa. The Dutch referred to it as Taoyuan, then Taiwan. The Republic of China and the previous Ming and Qing dynasties simply referred to it as a part of China. Under Japanese occupation, Taiwan was referred to as a settlement of the Japanese. Shortly after the ousting of the nationalists, it was referred to as Nationalist China. Nowadays, under international events, most commonly events like the Olympics, Taiwan is called Chinese Taipei, and is formally named the Republic of China. Taiwan's transient identity is analogous to the ceremonial and fantastic name changing of the Chiang Kai-shek Memorial in December of 2007. Now, instead of Chiang Kai-shek Memorial Hall, it is named Liberty Hall, or 自由广场, as if renaming the housing effigy of a dictatorial generalissimo to something akin to the Statue of Liberty could economically transform it into something to be prideful of for the recently democratic nation. Indeed, many Taiwanese, out of habit I suspect, still call it the Chiang Kai-shek Memorial Hall. Nevertheless, the reason behind the renaming is most certainly political. Perhaps analogous to Taiwan's history, in and of itself is probably one of the most interesting history lessons in the world. Maybe this is the shameful side of Taiwan, papering over its autocratic past. Maybe it's a way to compensate for being currently considered the worst democracy in the world, where shoes are thrown at presidents and fights in parliament are everyday events. A way to say, we are not like that anymore, but indeed, in many ways they still are. The quickness for which his reign posthumously fell is tantamount to the humanely limited span of dictatorship. The military state of Taiwan fell to new freedoms, democratic rule, and a multi-party government in 1987, when, oddly enough, Chiang Ching-kuo, Chiang Kai-shek's son and successor president, finally revoked martial law. Continued democratic reforms under President Lee Teng-hui have led to a starkly more democratic state than that under of Chiang Kai-shek, although many of the undemocratic repression and fights still exist today. A great example is the recent protests over the Cross-Strait Service Trade Agreement and the National Police Agency's quick action in surrounding the protests over the Taiwanese identity-robbing trade agreement, where many Taiwanese believe they will become the next Chinese takeover of Hong Kong. Mind you, this was the first protest in Taiwan's history, and deaths from police action have already been reported. Ironically, and most surprisingly, Taiwanese trekked to the monument day in and day out, performing ceremonies outside Chiang's effigy, perhaps to pay homage to the great Chiang Kai-shek, or maybe they come at the behest of their school teacher. The kids enjoy a day off from schoolwork, rather than the chance to see the statue of a dead dictator in his posthumously built palace to hold him. I would say today, the monument is the embodiment of a tourist attraction. The visitors who visit this place perhaps know less about the monument and the tragic history behind it than they know their own country's national anthem by heart. Perhaps they come for the sheer architectural grandiose of the complex surrounding the statue, while the statue itself, like the traditional Chinese letters surrounding it, go on, unheeded by foreign eyes, as Taiwan's identity becomes more globalized.